Hello and what's up? We're starting off the week right with news conversations. Hop on and join the chat. I'm Paolo de Rosario.
Hello there, beautiful people. I'm Asis-Carilo. Here's your daily dose of deep dives and good vibes. Welcome to
Beautiful Day!
I love this new setup.
Bagong-bago yung setup. Mobile mic. I love the ability to move this around.
And can I just say, this mic is so impressive. Sabi ko nga, pag ayaw nyo na, akin na lang ha. Lagay ko sa studio ko sa bahay.
You know what? Siguro mauuwi yan kung na-cancel tayo. Kaya wag muna.
Wag muna.
Of course. And what I find really interesting is that for the first time dito sa show na to, may disclaimer tayo sa simula.
Yeah.
Yung mga opinion natin are our own because ibang format na tayo.
Ibang format na. So it's more podcast style.
Yes.
So we have a little bit more freedom to speak our minds. I guess.
Nakatakot ata yun, ha? Yeah, but then of course...
Lalo na ako, I think of the most random things.
It's not about the things that we think of, it's the things that we say yung problema. So, I mean, like, of course, it's gonna be a fun first episode because we're gonna be hanging out with, for me, one of the filmmakers that really find a way to match yung talagang, I think, mass appeal to actual and at the same time critical storytelling. Diba? I mean, like you put that all together, I think it works.
I love her rom-coms. Can I just say? Yung That Thing Called Tadhana. Oh my goodness! Have you seen that?
Yeah, actually I have, of course.
Oh my goodness, that's super kilig. So we're gonna be talking to the director, of course, later, Direk Tonet. And marami tayong questions for her.
Of
Because
course.
we're gonna be talking about her medyo controversial upcoming movie with Maris Racal.
Yes.
So that's happening later on.
Yes,
Plus,
so-
you got Weather HQ.
Of course, we got Weather HQ. We're going to be talking to someone from Greenpeace as well. We're also going to be talking about health later, mental health in particular, giving kids the tools to manage emotions. Kasi kids these days are super emotional.
Tell me about
super
it.
duper
Tell me
emotional.
about it. I have a teenager. My daughter's 13, so parang, oh my goodness.
No, and they are different kids. Kasi yesterday I actually had the opportunity to listen to my sister work. Kasi yung sister ko in charge sa prom committee niya.
Okay.
Alright? Sa Lasal Zabel. Shout out Lasal Zabel. And my sister had to interview applicants to join the prom committee.
Ooh, okay.
She sounds like AI. Kasi,
What do you mean?
she sounds like AI kasi may pre-prepared spiel sila that already include na do you have permission to record you? Your face has to be seen in the camera the entire time.
Okay.
Talagang may step by step and then it feels really robotic.
May gano'n na for an
Oo.
interview?
Oh, I'm sorry?
May gano'n na for an interview?
Yeah, may ganun
mga
na.
disclaimer?
May disclaimer na.
Oh, okay.
And I grew up with a bunch of orgs, high school,
Yeah.
college, pero I never experienced anything like that.
Yeah,
so,
same.
I guess iba rin yung emotional process ng mga bata ngayon.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. But of course, syempre, apart from all of yung chika, we also have a lot of hard news to talk about here.
That's right. Right now, let's check out the oil prices out there. Motorists better gas up today. A new round of fuel price hike is expected this week. Industry sources said gasoline may increase by 50 to 70 centavos per liter. Diesel will go up by 1 peso and 20 centavos to 1 peso and 40 centavos per liter, while kerosene will increase by 70 to 90 centavos per liter. The Department of Energy says the increase is due to the renewed attacks on Red Sea shipping and higher global demand. And what's the weather going to be like this Monday? Paolo has today's forecast from Weather HQ. Take it away, pal.
Thank you so much, Ann. Let's take a look at the local weather where the southwest monsoon continues to bring moisture-laden winds that affect much of the country, triggering cloud formations and periodic rain showers. You can see the southwest monsoon coming in over here, affecting the Philippines. Let's go first to Luzon. Now, you can expect mostly cloudy skies with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms in the provinces of Zambales, Bataan, Occidental Mindoro, Romblon, and Palawan. Now, residents in these areas must be prepared as you experience sudden downpours, lightning, and occasionally the gusty wind. Now, over down south, let's go to the Visayas region. The western section and the Negros Island region will also see cloudy skies and scattered rain showers and thunderstorms. Locals are advised to take precautions against flash floods and localized landslides, especially in low-lying or mountainous areas. Meanwhile, down south in Mindanao, cloudy skies will prevail over the Zamboanga Peninsula and northern Mindanao. Now, these are accompanied by scattered rain showers and thunderstorms that could intensify at times. Now, as for Metro Manila and the rest of the country, expect partly cloudy to cloudy skies throughout the day with isolated rain showers or thunderstorms developing late in the afternoon or evening. Now, as for our sea conditions and coastal waters, now they will remain generally manageable, but caution is still advised. Although there is no gale warning in effect, moderate sea conditions are likely along the extreme northern Luzon with wave heights that could reach up to 1.8 meters. Now, potentially dangerous for small sea craft in particular. Now, in other coastal areas, winds will be light to moderate, resulting in wave heights of 0.6 to 1.5 meters. Fisherfolk and sea travelers are strongly urged to remain alert, as the southwest monsoon could suddenly worsen sea conditions, possibly causing stronger winds and higher waves. But that is it for Weather HQ at the moment. And back to you.
Now, an advisory for travelers going to the airport tomorrow. NAIA Terminal 3 will have brownouts from July 15, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. on July 16. According to the new NAIA Infrastructure Corporation, this is due to power maintenance by Meralco in the area. So travelers should expect intermittent power to the air conditioning, lights, elevators, and escalators, baggage systems, and power outlets. The NNIC says they are doing all they can to minimize inconvenience for travelers.
The viral images of former President Rodrigo Duterte lying in a hospital bed are AI generated. That's according to Vice President Sara Duterte, who says her 80-year-old father is detained at the regular wing of the ICC detention center, not the hospital.
Hindi totoo yung photo na yon, na malamang edited yung photo na yon. Ibang pasyente yon, inano lang nila yung mukha ni dating Pangulong Duterte. Naglalakad naman siyang mag-isa, albeit may dala-dala siyang tungkod. Oo, dala-dala siyang tungkod. So clearly, wala siyang sakit na, kumbaga, kailangan niya maging bedridden.
VP Sara's mother, Elizabeth Zimmerman, recently said Duterte is now skin and bones, spurring concerns for his health among supporters. VP Sara says his appearance has changed, but stresses that his face remains firm even as he loses weight.
The Philippine Coast Guard denies the Tanim Sako allegations. That's after critics said the sacks retrieved by PCG were planted.
Gaya ng marami, nagtataka ako kung bakit taon nang binilang, mukhang solid pa yung mga sako, no? Diyan sa Taal Lake.
PCG Southern Tagalog Commander Commodore Jeronimo Tuvilla explained they needed to put fine mesh net over the sacks to avoid them from falling apart.
We cannot please everyone. Basta kami yung inyong Philippine Coast Guard, katuwang yung Philippine National Police and the Department of Justice. Tuloy-tuloy lang namin gagawin yung aming trabaho professionally, diligently, and properly. Logically, na common sense lang naman yun na pag inangat mo at may opening, it might fall out, no? Hindi natin mape-preserve yung integridad ng mga nakukuha natin sa bottom.
11 more Filipino seafarers from the MV Magic Seas attacked by Houthi rebels in the Red Sea have arrived back in the Philippines. They were welcomed Saturday night at NAIA Terminal 3 by officials from the Department of Migrant Workers and other government representatives. This brings to 17 the total number of Filipino crew members who have been repatriated. According to the DMW, comprehensive reintegration support is ready to help the seafarers safely rejoin their families and communities.
The Ibon Foundation believes the Philippine economy must become more self-reliant. Executive Director Sunny Africa says the U.S. tariff hike exposes the country's weak export-dependent economy that relies heavily on foreign markets. Africa warns the manufacturing sector could be hit hard, leading to significant job losses. He urges President Bongbong Marcos to challenge the U.S. tariff hike and focus on strengthening domestic purchasing power to protect the local economy. Still on Trump's tariffs, French cheese and wine producers warned the U.S. president his sweeping tariffs could damage the agriculture industry. Trump earlier threatened a 30% tariff on EU imports. France's dairy sector exports half of its production mainly to the U.S. That includes cheese, yogurt, and butter. The sector risks losing several dozen millions of euros of sales annually. The French Dairy Association hopes negotiations could still ease the blow of Trump's trade war. A new wildfire in Turkey broke out on Sunday, less than 2 weeks after widespread blazes in the region were contained. Hundreds of wildfires have broken out across Turkey this summer, forcing some 50,000 people to evacuate across the country. 4 planes, 13 helicopters, and 34 fire trucks battled the new fire in the Urla district of Izmir as soon as possible.
Over in sports, the TNT Tropang 5G drew first blood in the PBA Season 49 Philippine Cup Finals, edging out San Miguel Beermen 99-96 in a thrilling and controversial game number 1. Roger Ray Pogoy led the way for TNT with 23 points, while Jordan Heading added 19 and 6 assists. Now, San Miguel's Junmar Fajardo put up a monster double-double of 26 points and 15 rebounds, but it was not enough to secure the win. However, Game 1 ended in controversy as San Miguel's Mo Tautua had a late dunk nullified for basket interference. Officials ruled that he pulled the rim down, causing the ball to drop in unnaturally, allowing TNT to escape with the win. Well, Game 2 of the best-of-7 series tips off Wednesday night at the Smart Araneta Coliseum. Meantime, Yannick Sinner defeated Spain's Carlos Alcaraz in 4 sets to claim his first Wimbledon trophy and 4th Grand Slam crown. The 22-year-old Italian becomes the first from his country to win a Wimbledon singles title, just a month after losing to Alcaraz in a thrilling French Open final. Sinner praised his team for helping him bounce back from the Paris loss and snap a 5-match losing streak against his rival.
Now here's the tea today. Film actress Vanessa Hudgens is expecting her second baby with her husband, professional baseball player Cole Tucker. The couple shared a joint post on Instagram where Vanessa flexed her baby bump. The High School Musical alum tied the knot with Cole in 2023 and welcomed their first child in July 2024. She was named the Global Ambassador to the Philippines in March 2023. Woohoo! Congratulations, Vanessa Hudgens. A baby's always a blessing.
Of course. And,
Yes.
I would always advise mga kababayan natin to make sure you get your passports for your kids before 16 years old para makasama sila sa Gilas, Pilipinas. Importante po yun. Do
Very
your
important.
part.
Dapat baby pa lang may passport na,
Dapat
di ba?
May Filipino passport specifically. Oo, di ba? Tapos i-document nyo.
Yeah,
Alright,
yeah.
kailangan natin ng new blood para sa Gilas, Pilipinas. Or baseball
okay.
player. Baka he can also join the
Yeah,
Philippines
why
team.
not,
Oo.
right? I think that's an in thing now. You know, getting passports for their kids, babies pa lang. Because
Yeah.
now you can see them traveling all over the world. Kahit hindi pa
yeah.
nila naiintindihan.
Look, I support completely babies getting passports. I do not support babies getting Instagram accounts or TikTok accounts with their names on it early.
That is debatable.
Diba? No, kasi naman. Diba? Malay mo, iba na yung nickname na pagtanda nila.
Yeah,
diba? So
I
useless
guess.
rin yung investment mo. I don't know.
Ganun
I'm
ba?
not here for it. I'm not here for it. No, cannot.
Okay, moving on. Here's another tea. 70,000 fans. Let me just say that again. 70,000 fans
Uy.
reportedly chant for a refund after American rapper Kanye West arrived 45 minutes late for his Shanghai concert, according to the Global Times. Let's go watch this. The concert quickly became trending on Chinese social media with videos showing the rapper performing alone on a bare stage. Promoted as the first live performance of his new album, ticket prices were up to $370. According to some social media users, the strict rules in the venue mean they would cut the performance exactly as scheduled with no allowance for the lost time. I mean, I would also demand for a refund if the artist was 45 minutes late.
45 minutes late is too much. I have seen shows go late in general. Pero ibang level ata yung 45 minutes.
That's too long. Even
Without
if
an
you
opening
put,
act.
Yeah, even if you put an opening act, I don't think they perform for 45 minutes.
But to be fair though, if there was an opening act, they probably wouldn't be chanting refund.
I guess.
Probably,
yes,
diba?
yes.
Kasi most likely it would feel like it was part of the show,
Part
it's
of the
part of the
concert.
ticket already,
Yeah,
diba? Pero, I mean, like, 45 minutes late. I mean, Kanye West has been known to be controversial. I think is a safe word to use. So, but to do that in Shanghai, I mean, like, considering how big the Chinese market is,
Yes,
I would say it's probably not the right move from their point of view.
Why was he late? I wonder. Tagal no na, 45 minutes. And without an opening act, you have to put something there.
Yeah, 100%. So we'll see how the fallout will be. But of course, we got a lot more after break because let's hang out with Sunshine director Direk Tonet after the break as her thought-provoking movie hits the theaters July 23rd. Stay tuned. Beautiful day. We'll be right back. And welcome back. You're still watching It's a Beautiful Day. Now, we have one of our first hangouts, or actually our very first hangout dito sa Beautiful Day in our new format. We had to get rid of our third co-host to do this kasi masyado siya madaldal eh. But then,
Para,
of course,
para tama lang yung spacing.
tama na yung
Yeah,
spacing natin.
yeah.
Oo. Pero Direk Tonet coming in later on, it's such a treat kasi again, I always look at Direk Tonet as one of the people who would do indie films pero it actually impacted a lot of people. Like
It's
very popular pa rin siya. And
Yeah.
of course, now mainstream success as well. And now with her new film, controversial rin yung topic.
Controversial, indeed. Yeah. You know what? I know Tonet, Direk Tonet Jadaone, she makes amazing rom-coms. So That Thing Called Tadhana, and we have that Lizken movie
Yeah.
from, anong year nga ba yun? 2019, if I'm not mistaken, Alone Together. So I love it. So she does rom-coms and she did Fangirl as well, which
Yeah.
is not a rom-com. Medyo iba na yung genre, right? She
nakakatakot nga
did
yan.
6 Degrees of Separation. Oh. And now we have Sunshine
Yeah.
with a controversial topic. So I love how she bounces from one genre to another. Mamaya tanungin natin siya.
Yeah.
Is there a genre na hindi pa niya natouch?
Well, you know what?
Action movie, I guess.
Action movie. Again, I'm still looking for a director to kill me on screen. Okay, so let's get that to happen first. Now let's bring her in for the hangout. You know, our first guest today for directing That Thing Called Tadhana, Never Not Love You, Alone Together, and Fangirl. She is one of the leading voices in Philippine cinema that captured the millennial and Gen Z audience and gave a new face to what pelikulang Pilipino could be. Now, Direk Tonet Jadaone produces her most thought-provoking work yet with award-winning movie Sunshine, starring Maris Racal, Piolo Pascual, and Maricel Soriano. Joining us in the Hangout, Direk Tonet. It's a beautiful day, Direk. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello. Good morning.
Alam mo, Direk, we are getting used to this setup. First time kami naka-podcast setup ngayon. And you actually do have a podcast, so you have to give us notes here. Ang Walang Kwentang Podcast with JP Habak. Of course, any notes for us? Kasi if I'm not mistaken, you talk about everything and anything under the sun.
Yes. I started the podcast in 2020 at the start of the pandemic. So I guess it's really about the chemistry with your co-host if you have one. Treating it like a regular conversation, but also being responsible to know that there are people who listen to you, and it's not just actually you talking, but you have a wide audience that really spend time to listen to your thoughts and insights.
That that medyo patay kami dun sa when it comes to the chemistry kasi yung we're right now we're covering millennials and Gen X.
Gen Z and Gen X. Yeah.
Hindi
Gen X
tayo, no?
parang
What are we?
too young. Ako?
Oo.
Gen X.
Ayun. No, pero Direk, of course, you come in here because 10 years ago, Anne and I were talking about it. That thing called Tadhana really made a different impact. What did that leave you
10 years
with?
ago na pala
10
yun,
years
ano,
na yun,
Direk
oo.
Tonet?
Actually, it was 11.
11.
11 years
Yeah,
ago.
we
And it was actually born out of more than a decade's worth. Oh, okay.
premiered in 2024, but we had the 2015.
Okay,
All right, Direk, we're gonna try to get your connection fixed in just a
Yes.
bit. But then again, we were talking about si Direk Tonet a while ago, diba? Of course, just yung I guess the way that she makes films kasi it reaches a wider audience compared to I guess what some people would have expected.
Yeah.
And considering na it's a I don't know, it means a controversial topic like Sunshine. Right?
Yes.
Sunshine in particular, or stalker films in general. But Direk Tonet, again, let's try this again because we were talking about That Thing Called Tadhana a
Yep.
while ago, and it left an impact on Anne to the point
ang
that
ganda
I
kaya
think
ng Direk, ang ganda ng chemistry ni JM and ni Angelica Panganiban, 'di ba? And their acting skills are just wow. It's so natural, the way they blended together. And it's born out of more than a decade's worth of love stories and heartbreaks. Paano mo decide to pour all that into the stories of these stars?
I was at the core, I'm really a rom-com girl. I mean, before I got to direct these rom-coms, I was a rom-com audience, and I still am. So I guess throughout the years, while I was watching my favorite rom-coms from Star Cinema and Viva Films, I was already trying to create that perfect rom-com through all these that I've watched. So parang nagsa-side notes ako, and I was trying to write or do some scenes on the side, not knowing that years later I'll be able to use all those experiences that I have, and my friends' experiences and all my friends who shared their experiences with me. I didn't know that later on I'll be making a film out of it.
Speaking of your films, I want to talk about your latest, Sunshine. I want to read out the synopsis first para alam ng mga viewers natin the context of what we're all going to be talking about. So this is a synopsis. Just days before her team's tryouts for the Olympics, dedicated young gymnast Sunshine, a powerful Maris Racal, discovers that she is pregnant. Now she must embark on a desperate and risky journey to fight for her dream. Alam mo, Direk Tonet, just looking at yung subject matter na yun, it's a far cry from yung rom-coms that we were just talking about. Can you tell us a bit more about yung origin story ng Sunshine, why this was a story you wanted to tell, and of course, why it was written in the first place?
I wrote it during the pandemic, and as you know, the film industry was really shut down during the pandemic. Hindi pwede mag-shoot, hindi ka pwede lumabas. So, but as a writer, I knew I can't just stay there and not write or not be creative. So, I was doing some research, and I came across the stories of teenage girls who got pregnant, etc. Tapos, I started to interview girls who got pregnant in their teens, who continued their pregnancy, others who terminated their pregnancy. And they were all very chilling stories. And I just knew I needed to continue writing it after hearing all their stories.
Direk, what made you choose Maris Racal to play the role of Sunshine? And why gymnastics? I'm curious.
Okay. Si Maris, I've worked with her in other projects before. So, nakatrabaho ko siya sa The Kank Show. It's a series I have with Angelica Panganiban. And Simula sa Ita, it's a romance series naman. And so, even then, I already loved working with her. Eh, pero yung physicality ni Maris, she's lean and fit and very petite. Very ano na siya, very gymnast na. So, pasok yung physicality niya. Tapos, ano rin siya, she's a dancer. So, yung flexibility and gracefulness, parang built-in na rin sa kanya. So, kaya yung training niya as a gymnast, medyo mas madali na skip na niya yung flexibility stage. Pero, what I love about Maris is the way she treats the characters na binibigay sa kanya. She's not classically trained as an actress. So when she does a scene, very instinctive, very intuitive. That's what I really like about her with my collaborations with her. Parang nasa-surprise niya ako kahit alam ko na yung eksena, kahit nag-usap naman na kami. Parang kapag nag-action ako, may iba pa rin siyang mabibigay. And I think it really worked well for something like Sunshine.
I want to
Tapos,
talk. Go ahead,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead, Direk. Yeah, no, kasi I
about
want
the
to talk
cast
about
naman,
the.
about
Sorry, I want to talk about the physicality kasi that you mentioned with si Maris. Kasi rhythmic gymnastics, first of all, we're seeing clips of her in action. At the amount of discipline actually required to nail a lot of those actions in particular. I've covered gymnastics for a very long time, since even before Kaloy made it big, even a bit of rhythmic gymnastics. And iba talaga yung disiplina nila, iba yung, their bodies change in particular. And Maris, nga, you mentioned it a while ago, very petite, it does fit the bill. Pero how did she get into the whole gymnastics aspect of yung film na to?
She trained.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
she trained
Had
for
to.
a year, if I'm not mistaken, for the movie.
Yes. Yes, that's true. She trained with the national team of our gymnastics, with our national gymnastics team. And yung coach, we have a national team coach, coaching her. Tapos, meron kaming isang national team gymnast na isa ring coach niya. So, pinagsabay niya to sa isa pa niyang show, yung Can't Buy Me Love. Tapos, di ko nga alam pa paano niya nagawa na she was coming from a very different kind of a series na very, very fun, very rom-com, to this very emotional kind of a film. But I felt from the start na she really wanted to make this right. So, nagtitraining siya, and even then, in between, nag-acting workshops din kami. We did scene studies. We did character sketches para kuha niya yung physicality and also the emotional side of being Sunshine.
Direk, when you look at your lineup of movies, the movies that you've directed, ang ganda ng mga female characters talaga. So we have Maris Racal as Sunshine, we have Liza Soberano, we have Julia Barreto, their characters, Angelica Panganiban in That Thing Called Tadhana. What do you love most about writing about, girlhood, these female characters?
I guess it comes out naturally for me because growing up, I was surrounded by women, by very outspoken and very empowered women. So growing up, it was just a natural thing. Parang whenever I'm asked nga, why do I write these strong empowered women? For me, parang meron bang hindi strong empowered women? I didn't know that it wasn't the, I guess, the status quo then. So writing about these women, it feels very like being just natural. I'm a woman and I write stories about women and for women. Kasi parang built-in, I guess pag babae ka, built-in yung struggle sa society.
Right,
Parang
yes.
when you're born a woman, meron meron talagang hurdles yung life sa'yo na kahit hindi mo naman ginusto, meron talaga.
You know,
So, oo. So, built-in na rin yon yung pagsusulat ng characterization, yung pagsusulat ng story arc, kahit na family yan, dahil babae yung character mo, malakas na siya kasi marami nang binigay yung buhay sa kanya kasi
Right.
hindi pumapabor yung lipunan natin talaga para sa mga babae.
yeah, thank you so much for writing and directing those types of characters, Direk. But of course, at the same time, we also touch on a few controversial topics with your latest work here. In an interview on the Filmmaker magazine, you said, and I quote, "The abortion ban may be protecting the unborn, but it's killing our women too, both literally and figuratively." Of course, that type of statement, Direk, it does impact a lot of women. I'm sure those who are going through that in particular. Why is it important to highlight this particular message? What did you mean by this, Direk?
While I was researching and doing immersion for Sunshine, di ko talaga alam yung mga ganyang statistics that there are 3 Filipino women who die every day. 3 women who die every day from complications brought by abortion. And a lot of them, our youngest ever to give birth in the Philippines was 9 years old, and she was also a victim of incest. And during the time of the pandemic, there were a lot of cases of rape, of incest, and habang lumalaki yung population natin, lumalaki rin yung mga cases na yan, including abortion. And before, it was just like a concept to me, that kind of a world. Pero habang nagre-research ako at nakausap ko na talaga sila, pinuntahan ko talaga sila, parang realidad siya, hindi lang siya kwento, hindi lang siya something na nababasa ko sa internet. Hindi lang sila parte ng news na binabalita. Mga totoong tao sila na hindi lang kailangang ikwento, kailangan siya talagang maparating sa mga tao kasi Sunshine may just be a fictional character, pero siya yung suma total ng lahat ng mga bagets talaga yung mga na-interview ko eh. 19 years old and below. Na grabe yung pinagdaanan. Yun, kaya ganun yung sinabi ko, we always hear the saying na it takes a village to raise a child. And I guess in Sunshine, I wanted to show and ask the question, have we been doing a good job being that village, raising the child who is Sunshine?
Well, Direk,
Have we made it safe
Oo.
for them?
Well, Direk, you know what? I forgot to lead that in, but that was actually our very first answer dito sa hot take segment namin. Kasi syempre, it is a topic that talagang taboo for some people, but then, and it has been a conversation happening over and over again.
You know, Direk, kasi syempre, you're going to be showing this movie here in the Philippines, and we are a very conservative, very religious country, diba? It's going to spark conversations in deeply religious communities. How difficult was it for you to bring this movie to life, especially in a predominantly Christian country?
Sorry, I didn't catch the last part, but were you asking how difficult was it?
How difficult was it to bring the movie to life, especially here in the Philippines? We are a Christian country, predominantly Christian country.
To be honest, while writing it, it wasn't really very difficult. Parang as a storyteller and as a writer, your loyalty should always be to the story that you're writing. And then later, yun, laging tinatanong sa akin, hindi ba nakakakaba, hindi ba nakakatakot? Parang, for me, yung pinaka-bare minimum na gusto naming mangyari when people watch the film ay malaman nila na nangyayari to and just start a conversation. Just spark that discourse. Kasi yun nga, it's a taboo topic na parang pag pinag-usapan, hush-hush lang. Pero being able to talk freely about it is already a win for us.
You know, Direk Tonet, you mentioned it, being able to talk freely about it. And, apart from the courage that it takes to write it and to direct it, iba rin the courage to actually act it out. And, of course, be a part of the film. I can only imagine si Maris, si Piolo, and everyone part of the cast understanding na medyo controversial yung ginagawa nila, at least from a Philippine context. Kasi abortion in the Philippines don't necessarily mix. Ano yung reaction ng mga actors when they found out the concept, the pitch, and of course, it's almost a bit of like an advocacy, trying to contextualize abortion dito sa Pilipinas, especially knowing, I'm sure you know, what the younger people seeking abortion go through just to do it, at putting their own health at risk, the amount of money they actually spend to do it. How did the actors react to that?
I made sure that when they said yes to the film, they actually read the whole film, not just the scenes that they're. And I also had to talk to them, especially Maris. When she said yes, I had to ask her first to read the script again and think about what the film is saying. And it will be very important to me if she believes in what the film is saying, that she's not just Sunshine as a character in the film, in the script, but someone who can be a friend to the character of Sunshine even outside of the film.
Direk, have you had experiences ba where the actors don't read the script, oo na lang?
Yes, a lot of times. And
Kasi may tiwala na sila sa'yo, Direk. If it's from Direk Tonet, you gotta say yes. You know it's a good material.
Hindi naman siguro, pero pero there are a lot of instances like that na kaya parang ang nangyayari sometimes when you shoot a scene and they haven't read the script beforehand before saying yes, nagkakaroon pa ng discussion, parang ay may ganito ba, bakit parang that means hindi kasi niya nabasa.
Direk, kami ni Paolo, hindi kami ayaw. Yes, na agad. Yeah.
Kahit, pero magbabasa pa rin ng script. Kasi yan nata yung note ni Direk Kailangan magbasa ng script muna. But of course, Direk Tonet, thank you so much for coming on. Could you invite those who want to see this to go catch this, and where can they do so?
Yes, Sunshine is already showing starting July 23, exclusive in SM Cinemas. And the tickets for Sunshine are actually lower. We got discounted ticket prices for everyone. For Metro Manila, it's only 275 pesos. And for provinces, it's only 230 pesos. And it's something that SM Cinemas and us, the producers, really wanted to do so that more and more people can watch the film with their friends and their families.
Thank you so much, Direk Tonet Jadaone, for hanging out with us here on Beautiful Day. Again, Sunshine already in cinemas. Maraming salamat. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Direk.
All right, so I'll be talking to Greenpeace later on about their latest climate campaign. That story on Weather HQ after the break. Stay tuned. Beautiful Day. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching Beautiful Day. This is Weather HQ. Now, as millions of Filipinos continue to pick up the pieces after climate disasters, the very companies most responsible in the oil, coal, and gas industry continue to profit. Now, as global talks on climate loss and damage open in Cebu, Greenpeace Philippines is urging leaders to demand accountability and push for real climate justice. Joining us live via Zoom this morning is Jefferson Chua, climate campaigner from Greenpeace Philippines, to talk about why the time has come to make climate polluters pay. Good morning, Jeff. Thank you so much for joining us here on Beautiful Day.
Good morning, and good morning to all your viewers.
All right, Jeff, let's start off first with the fact that developing countries are losing around $400 billion a year from climate disasters. But then the global pledges only cover 0.2% of that, if I'm not mistaken, in terms of the numbers. Let's talk about how this tiny amount may not be enough to really impact countries like us here in the Philippines who are really in the path of the adverse effects of climate change?
It's not a surprise that the minuscule amount contributed by developed countries pales in comparison to the needs of especially frontline communities. No, and it's not just the fact that the fund is so small. It's also the fact that climate impacts are escalating. So we are expecting more costs down the line. No, so and it's not just here in the Philippines. It's really around the world where different areas who haven't experienced climate impacts are now experiencing them at an escalated rate. Here in the Philippines, we're unfortunately, we're pretty used to big climate impacts. No, but the reality is that a lot of the communities here in the Philippines are also pushed the limit, and that means funds used to recover from these climate impacts are also pushed to the limit. For example, last year, in the string of 6 typhoons we had in November, the calamity fund for the Philippines really whittled down. And that is really a foretaste of how costs will go up and how governments will be challenged beyond their limit to cope with these escalating climate impacts.
Of course, when we talk about the climate impact here in the country, there are also people saying that the Philippines is also responsible for a bit of the pollution that does affect the climate change. Does the Philippines actually contribute to a lot of the climate damage? How much of the percentage of the climate damage can be attributed to the Philippines in particular?
The reality is that the Philippines is one of the least contributors of carbon emissions historically. You have to look at the accumulation of carbon in the atmosphere as a historical thing. And that means that the most developed countries around the world have benefited with their development at the expense of increased carbon levels in the atmosphere, and which leads to increased climate impacts also on the ground. So if we look at it this way, the Philippines does contribute just a little amount to the carbon levels in the atmosphere, which is why there is that injustice element. Why do countries like the Philippines, who contribute so little to carbon emissions, suffer the most when it comes to climate impacts? Which is why this fund is really important for developing countries to have a fighting chance amidst escalating climate impacts.
And of course, you mentioned the word injustice. Again, is this in your mind the biggest injustice in terms of the climate conversation, that the countries that are more responsible, at least percentage-wise, to climate change all over the world are not really contributing as much as they should to areas that are more impacted by these climate disasters?
One of the things that a lot of people don't see is that the discussions on loss and damage aren't new. They have been here for decades. In fact, as early as 2007, the most vulnerable countries in the Pacific Islands actually already broached the idea that, hey, why shouldn't we have a fund to respond to loss and damage? And this dragged on for years, right? Because developed countries didn't want to face the music when it comes to their responsibility to climate impacts. And it's also because it's money. We don't see developed countries taking responsibility for the damages that climate impacts incur. And fortunately, after how many years it was finally operationalized. But again, as you said a while ago, only 0.2% of the fund has been filled up. And this is also because of the continued refusal of different developed countries who have fossil fuel interests, right, to contribute less, because contributing is tantamount to an acceptance of that responsibility. And we know now that because the fund is this low, countries still refuse, right? The biggest polluters still refuse to acknowledge the responsibility to helping out the most at-risk nations to climate impacts.
You know, you mentioned it a while ago, this requires international action. Now, for that to happen, the local government, or the Philippine government, has to be able to actually push for that and to try and hold more of the major polluters accountable. How can the government do that? What are the avenues that you see as Greenpeace for the government to try and pursue to try and address yung climate issues po natin, especially when it comes to the major polluters, especially those who are in certain industries? You mentioned fossil fuel and oil a while ago as well.
Well, one is the fact that we are the host country for the fund responding to loss and damage. So we are in a prime position to call for payment for loss and damage from big polluters. And we're not just talking about countries, right? We're also talking about the companies behind the increased amounts of carbon emissions in the atmosphere, right? And nationally, right, one of the ways that Philippines can lead the way is to show through its national policies that it is willing to make polluters pay and demand payment for loss and damage. And one of the key pieces of legislation that we have been lobbying for in Congress is the Climate Accountability Bill. This is a bill that was proposed back in November 2023 by the Committee on Climate Change Chair, Congressman Chato, and we have been really pushing and advocating for this piece of policy. Basically it is a polluters pay policy, right? Where the government collects revenue, right, from the biggest polluters and pulls that into a fund where communities can access directly for their recovery costs, right? For the costs incurred for climate impact. So we see that it is possible to create policy frameworks when it comes to polluters pay, and it's not just here in the Philippines. We also see other countries doing exactly the same. For example, in California, in the state of California in the USA, they are pushing for what they call a climate super fund, which gets revenues as well for emissions from big oil and gas companies to fund recovery costs for loss and damage. So it's not just exactly the Philippines that's doing this, it's also other countries. So it's really high time that different countries around the world pursue national legislation to make polluters pay.
Jeff, how have countries, corporations avoided taking responsibility in your mind when it comes to being able to be accountable for their percentage of the climate change and the disasters that it does entail?
Since the 1950s, companies such as BP, such as Shell have already known, right? We have seen studies after studies from 50s, 60s, and 70s where their own scientists have sounded the alarm for the possibility of runaway climate change because of increased emissions and because of increased extraction. Now, we see that a lot of these companies, while they're expanding, are also continually denying their responsibility to climate change. In fact, one of the things that we fail to realize on an everyday basis that even the idea of individual carbon footprint was essentially a marketing tool, to pass responsibility to individual consumers and drive away the gaze, right, to these big companies and their responsibility. So in terms of the responsibility, not just the emissions that they cause, but also the pattern of denial from the big companies that still perpetuate the climate crisis.
Jeff, of course, we now have to ask you, how can Filipinos find out more about your advocacy and join your call to make the climate polluters pay? What are the avenues for them to try and be part of your advocacy?
There is a big push for globally called the Polluters Pay Pact. We are pushing for different governments around the world to make polluters pay, and the voice must come from frontline people, from people at the front lines of the climate crisis, concerned citizens, government people, and even ordinary citizens who are impacted in many ways by the climate crisis. We don't see it as much, but we also see the rising food prices as also a consequence, right, of a lot of these climate impacts. So it's really high time that we realize that it's not just the burden of taxpayers' money and government money that needs to be used to be able to recover from climate impacts, but really, right, the astronomical profits of big oil and gas companies who must give their fair share to respond to escalating climate impacts. So this is a global petition. We have launched this already, and this is available in our websites to be able to be part of this. And we will be bringing these demands. Right now, we already have 182,000 signatures, and we are really hoping to push, right, for huge changes and reforms, even in multilateral and international spaces, to really make polluters pay.
He's climate campaigner for Greenpeace Philippines, Jefferson Chua. Thank you so much for joining us today, Jeff.
Thank you.
Well, that is it for Weather HQ for today. And back to you.
Thank you, Pao. Now, eto na. Is today going to be your lucky day or not? Let's go find out from our resident energizer and feng shui master, Hans Kua, in our horoscope of the day. Take it away, Master Hans.
Good morning! Beautiful day with me, Bilyonaryo Feng Shui Master Hans Kua. Ito po ang horoscope for Monday, July 14. Simulan natin sa mga pinanganak ng Year of the Rat. May natapos kang task na nagustuhan ni boss. Good job! Green at 6. Sa Ox naman tayo, ang simpleng lambing mo ngayon ay mas matimbang kesa sa mamahaling regalo. Yellow at 3. Sa Tiger naman tayo, may bagong contract na mag-aalok ng partnership. Pag-isipan mabuti yan, ha? White at 5. Rabbit naman tayo, ilista ang mga utang at isama sa budget. Gumawa din ng rainy day na savings fund. Beige at 1. Dragon naman tayo, uminom ng salabat o tsaa para iwas tayo sa sipon. T is life. Silver at 7. Sa snake naman tayo, may importanteng email o message na darating. Blue at 2. Ito naman, Kev the Horsey, masarap ang katahimikan kung kasama mo ang taong tunay na mahal ka. Uy! Gold at 8. Kay ship naman tayo, gumawa ng simpleng envelope system. Bahay, kuryente, grocery, utang at ipon. Gray at 9. Kay monkey naman tayo, magtabi muna ng pera para sa mabiglang iwas. Iwas tayo sa one-day bilyonaryo. Purple at 4. Kay Year of the Rooster naman tayo, bago mag-check out online tanungin muna ang sarili, need ko ba talaga ito? Pink at 1. Kay Dog naman tayo, bigyan pansin ang maliliit na detalye sa trabaho ngayon. Small things count. Blue at 7. At kay Of the Pig naman tayo, gamitin ang perang paparating para sa mga buy one, pay one debt strategy. Silver at 2. Paalala lang, ito po'y patnubay lamang. Ang tunay na swerte ay nagsisimula sa pagiging totoo. Abangan araw-araw ang horoscope of the day. Dito lang po sa Beautiful Day with me, Master Hans Kua, your Bilyonaryo Feng Shui expert.
Thank you so much, Master Hans Kua, our Bilyonaryo Feng Shui expert. I love that.
Sobrang specific ang horoscope natin today. Ano yung sa'yo? Envelope system?
Alam mo, Master Hans, naging bilyonaryo feng shui expert ka lang, para ng financial advisor. Sa akin, budgeting, enveloping system daw kailangan kong gawin. So, kuryente, tuition, ipon, oh my
Yung
God.
sa akin, to quiet time daw with
Quiet
the one
time
I love.
with the one you
Oo.
love.
Paano yan? Quiet ba ako? Ever? Diba? Yan yung hassle dun eh. But
There
then,
must be times na kailangan you should be quiet lang.
I don't know,
And let the action
natatakot
do
ako sa
the talking.
silence eh.
Bakit?
Ha? Wala, natatakot kayo yung silence. Every horror movie, tahimik muna. bago may mamatay. Diba?
But in romantic movies, you love that silent moment where you're just sitting beside the one you love, maybe holding hands. Or,
Normally, may OPM na nasa likod.
Oh, may
Sa
background music.
diba?
Yeah, yeah.
Hindi yan tahimik and you can feel it.
you know,
Oo.
you know that scene sa Up where the old man and his wife were just sitting down reading
That is the
reading books.
saddest sequence
Sandali
in
lang.
Philippines.
Hindi pa, nung buhay pa.
Nung
Nung
buhay-
buhay pa, they were just sitting beside each other. They weren't talking. They were just reading books. Diba? Tas holding hands lang sila. I love
Then
that.
you know what
That's
happened
a quiet
after?
moment.
She died.
That's life, guys.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
But that's life. You grow old. And then we say goodbye.
You know what? Yung mali yata yung messaging natin.
Oo nga eh.
But of course, we have something important up next, especially for, I think, parents will find this interesting. I
Parents,
think the younger
teachers,
generation will find this interesting.
That's right. Kids may be young and carefree, but their mental health matters too. How can we help them handle and express their emotions? That conversation with clinical psychologist John Cadiz Carandang after the break. Don't go away. It's a beautiful day. We'll be right back. Hi there and welcome back. You're still watching Beautiful Day. It may be culturally accepted to hush a crying child or push them aside when they nag you, but children are usually still learning to communicate their feelings. And when they don't learn how to, this problem usually carries over until adulthood. Let's talk about it on Health Matters. And we are joined today by psychologist John Cadiz Carandang to talk about this. It's a beautiful day. Doc John, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me here again. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good
Now,
morning,
morning.
Doc. Hindi ka naman stressed to be here.
Hindi naman.
Hindi naman.
hindi
oo.
siya stressed and anxious to be here.
Oo.
He's actually excited.
Ayun.
Oo. Perfect
Tama.
pa kasi parang bueno mano to our new format, our new
Yes.
set,
Yes,
right?
nice.
Now, Doc, I wanted to start with the basics before we talk about, talking to our kids about mental health issues. Can you describe to us first, ano ba yung current state of mental health among kids and teens now here in the Philippines, especially after the pandemic? What are the most common issues that you're seeing?
Well, there's an increased number of mental health issues among children and teenagers, no? Based on my personal record, it's almost 20 to 30% ng aking mga clients in coming to my office or to my clinic are below 18 years old.
Minors.
Minors, yeah.
Grabe,
and
no?
most of them experiencing depression and anxiety, which is very common, no? Kumbaga, and the problem is they go to my clinic asking help, pero meron na sila naka-program na diagnosis among themselves. Like,
Okay.
Doc, I think I have bipolar. I think, Doc, I have a borderline personality disorder.
Okay.
Sabi ko, where do you get that information? I'll just check it to Google and ask the AI. And I think I had this kind of mental health
Okay.
condition. Oh my God. No,
Oo.
nowadays, nagsa-self-diagnose na yung bata.
Yeah.
And medyo mataas na yung kanilang awareness. So, they embrace it already.
Right, right.
No, I think mayroon akong ADHD because I can't focus anymore.
Okay,
So,
okay.
something like that. And very alarming.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, when we talk about that, kasi naalala ko, at this generation natin, the saying was, don't check Google for your diagnosis. Huwag kayo mag-WebMD.
Wag,
Like
yeah.
actually, because if you have WebMD, that means everything that you have, kahit simpleng headache lang,
Cancer.
siguro cancer na. yan yung joke dati, di ba? But then, kids right now, at least based on what you're saying, it feels like they are self-diagnosing. Do you feel na siguro yung social media is a big factor in it? Kasi there's so many types of content na affirming na, okay, you have this and it's okay. You have that and it's okay. Is that a factor sa palagay mo?
Yes. The problem is now, wala namang problema for the Google, no? Walang problema kung for the Google. Mag-Google ka ng how do I feel today, no? Their intention is to educate. But because of the lack of guidance, no, how do we use the internet? We tend to, ako to.
Yeah.
Ay, oo nga. Tapos sinasabi nila, married ako, mami. Meron akong depression. Why? Because it says this. No?
Okay.
Pero that without consulting the professional. Sad to say, kapag hindi nag-meet yung standard namin, kasi we have tools and techniques on how to diagnose a patient with mental health issues. So ini-invalidate mo ako, Doc. Something like that. They feel bad. Kasi nga, parang naka-program na sa kanila yung kanilang status na meron silang ganitong disorder.
Oo.
Sometimes, di ba, I told you, mami, meron. So, ang gagawin nila, papakitaan nila yung sarili nila na, di ba, mami, meron ako, ayaw mo lang maniwala. Then, the tendency, nagkikreate na ngayon ng conflict between mother or parents and children in addressing the mental health. And even the parents now, sir, paano ko i-address to? Hindi ko naiintindihan yung anak ko.
Yeah.
And yet, sabi mo, wala siyang ADHD. And he's embracing that she has ADHD. So, paano to? So, parang na-invalidate. And then, doon napapasok yung talagang psychotherapy session, no?
Okay.
So that the child able to help themselves na hindi porket nakakaranas ka ng ganitong estado, is a disorder.
Right.
Mayroong mga distress. Mayroong mga behavioral issues lang, pero that is already a disorder, a pathological condition. No?
I feel, doon nagkakaroon ng conflict yung communication between the child and the parent, because you must admit, iba yung kabataan ngayon. 'Di ba?
Yes.
Parang dati kasi wala pa tayong labels for mental health issues Wala pa yung depression, anxiety. We don't have these labels when we were younger, 'di ba? Parang susunod ka lang sa parents mo, bawal ka sumagot, bawal ka and everything. But now it's totally different. Sometimes you can't understand your child. And you know what, ang experience ko nga with my daughter, one time she said to me, "Mommy, I think I need a shrink." She's 13 na. Yes, Mommy, I think I need a therapist. I need to talk to someone. So they're aware of their situation. But sometimes yung mga kids, instead of opening up to their parents, they'd rather talk to somebody else outside the family. So ang question ko, Doc, is how do the parents approach their children if they feel that there is something wrong?
Yeah. It's good thing, no, that your child able to realize that she needs help. No, it's a good sign for me. So, in order for you to address that issue, just listen. Just listen. Do not say anything that causes another distress, another invalidation. Kasi napaka-importante sa kanila yung validation which is among us, no, kahit matanda tayo. It exists naman talaga that if meron silang feelings, no, sasabihin nila depression. Sige, pakinggan natin.
Right.
Pero at the back of your mind, wag mo sasabihin, are you sure depression 'yon? Wag mo sasabihin 'yon. Nagkakamali ka, baka iniisip mo, baka nga depression, pero let us see, baka sadness, baka lonely ka. Pero sige, let's talk about it. What are your feelings? Ano yung mga nakikita mo sa sarili mo? Mami, ganyan. Okay, sige. I think there's one expert for that. Okay, pero anak, wag mong sasabihin na pathological pa kasi you are not a doctor and I'm not an expert. But let's go with a journey, no?
Right.
Samahan mo siya kasi at the end of the day, hindi naman natin siya binabaliwala, pero iniiwasan lang natin yung makakaramdam siya ng sabihin na natin, wala naman to si mami, hindi marunong makinig.
Oo.
Diba?
So they really want to be heard.
Yeah.
They want to feel that their feelings are valid. Diba? What they're feeling is valid.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Kasi at least ako personally, kung ang bata, mami, I need help, for me, it's a good sign na one step higher na siya sa wellness. So, sa kanyang sa mga na paggaling.
Yeah.
Kasi kung hindi niya nakikita yon, clueless siya, so masyadong nang niyang iisipin, preoccupied siya sa negative feelings, and probably yung sadness na nararamdaman niya can lead to a pathological condition. That's a different story.
I want to talk about yung parents' perspective kasi minsan when I'm going to assume, obviously not being a parent yet, I'm going to assume na when parents hear from their kids that they'd rather talk to professional instead of them, baka masasaktan sila. How do you deal with it, or how should parents deal with that type of situation na they want to go to someone else instead of to them for what should be, at least para sa kanila, a very intimate topic?
Yeah, sad to say, there are some parents who are not open for that, no? Pero ibalik natin yung kultura na simpleng kamustahan, di ba? It's a good sign na pumapasok ka na doon sa kanilang mundo.
Yeah.
Like, oh anak, ano nangyari? Kamusta? Wala. Are you sure? Wala. Meron na kikikwento sa'yo. So, just a simple chit-chat, and then all of the sudden, not knowing, yung bata pala, nagkikwento, oh my God, I think, sige, let's talk about that one. And siguro, magko-consult tayo.
Oo.
Para hindi siya, hindi siya nagiging barrier na, anak, ano ka ba? Nung panahon namin, wala. So, nagiging history major tayo.
Yeah.
Di ba? Nagiging history major tayo. Para nung panahon namin, wala. Pero kasi, ang problema ngayon, kahit yung bata, yung bata ngayon, pag kinausap yung parent, sige, andyan na yan. Sige, Google mo na lang, basahin mo yung libro. Ang dami kong So, ang tendency, okay, walang oras. Okay, sige. Ngayon, nagseselos na yung mother, yung parent.
Yeah.
Na, bakit yung anak ko nag-open up na lang doon sa kaibigan, sa AI, hindi na ako kinakausap.
Right.
Kasi tayo mismo, nagbigay ka agad ng wall.
Parang may barrier na
Oo.
agad kaya hindi sila makapag-open up to their parents, to their families. Kasi
Uunahan mo
parang,
pa yung panahon natin, wala.
yeah. Kasi the problem, I feel during our time kasi, bawal ka sumagot.
History major, sorry.
Pero hindi kasi 'di ba? It's true. Yung parenting before that's why I love yung new generation of parents now kasi now the kids have freedom to speak their minds. To tell their parents everything. Kung pwede sila mag-reason out, pwedeng makipag-argue, pwedeng sumagot. Dati kasi nung time natin, bawal sumagot, 'di ba? Bawal mag-answer back sa parents. And sometimes, I see young parents who adopt that style. Kung paano sila lumaki, ganun din sila ngayon sa anak nila, which I think does not work for this new generation anymore. Hindi, 'di ba? Do you feel na tong culture na bawal sumagot is still applicable or still right for today's generation, Doc?
Tignan natin sa konteksto, no? Bawal sumagot. Kasi I remember, sumagot ka, sa kagaling. Mama galing, sumasagot ka na. Di ba? Noong panahon natin, ganon.
Yeah.
But remember, this time, anak, sumagot ka. Minsan kailangan turuan natin yung bata hindi maging aggressive sa pagsagot. Maging assertive. And then, ako kasi ang tinuturo ko sa mother, kung gusto niya sumagot yung anak niyo, huwag niyang gamitin ang problema sa iyo, mama. Gamitin, mama, ang problema sa akin kasi, use the I language. I feel bad kasi, mama
Okay.
sa ginawa mo sa akin, nasigawan mo po ako. Ay, pag ganyan yung salita na tinuturo mo sa anak mo, magkakaroon ng time na may respect. Kasi, again, walang masama sa pagsagot. Ang motto ko nga say it, do not delay. Kung galit ka sa akin, do not delay. There was a time na nag-argue kami ng mother ko. Sumasagot ka na? When I was young. Sabi ko, mama, hindi ako po sumasagot. I just want to express my feelings.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry for that, anak. Mas lalong nagkakaroon na kami ng close bonding ng mother ko.
May conversation
And I'm 47. I'm still doing like that. Na, mama, hindi ka pa ba kakain? Bakit? Problema mo? Hindi, mama. Again, I'm just asking. Kasi gabi na. Hindi ka pa nagdi-dinner. Sorry, anak. So, ganun lang din, di ba? Ang maganda, nag-open ng communication. Ang problema kasi nung panahon din natin, no? Pag sumagot ka, kalapas-tanganan. So, what's kalapas-tanganan? It's disrespectful.
Yeah.
Kaya tuloy, yung atin, hindi ko gagawin to sa aking magiging anak. Diba? Kaya nagiging, yung parent ngayon is nagiging open dun sa, sige anak, sabihin mo lang sabihin.
Yeah.
Basta may paggalang.
Yeah.
Ang problema lang sa ibang parent, sinisigawan na yung bata, hindi kinokorek yung attention, yung behavior. Then tendency, ay anak ko, nagmi-misbehave, saan ako nagkamali? Kasi akala ng bata, pag nag-express siya ng galit sa'yo at sinabi yung reason, okay lang. Kaya hindi mo mapagsabihan tuloy yung behavior niya, the way he explained her side, as she explained her side, di ba?
Yeah, you know what, para sa mga konyo, mga Inglesero, yung bawal sumagot is, don't talk back to me. just para lang klaro. Pero
Yeah.
another thing that I may konting history lesson din. And naging biktima ka ba ng Paolo culture?
Yeah.
Diba? Do you do that to your kid?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. Wait, I did not expect that.
When she was younger, yes. Because
So,
I was
anong gamit mo?
disciplined.
Chinelas?
Um,
O yung belt? Anong gamit mo?
Chinelas.
Okay, so it exists still. Pero, yeah, I mean, like,
Kasi
ang context
ganon-
dun.
Yun yung that's how I was disciplined. Me and my siblings were disciplined when we were younger. And, alam mo, case-to-case basis. Kasi yung iba, they grow up to be medyo rebellious. Pero sa amin, sa case ng family namin, we grew up to be disciplined. Takot kami na ma-disappoint yung mommy at daddy namin. So, even as we were adults, we would do the right thing to not disappoint our parents. Parang ganun yung naging result nung ganung klaseng disciplining. So, medyo naging ganun din ako to my daughter. But the question is, does that still work in this time and age? Kumbaga, day and age.
Ooh. Interesting.
Nagulat ka ba, Pao?
Oo. Alright, pero Doc, yes, how does that work?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not surprised kung namamalo ka. Di ba? Actually,
Grabe, teka lang, makakancel ako.
no, don't worry, Ann. Don't worry.
Oh my
I can
goodness.
justify it, no?
Okay, that's why she wanted to see us shrink agad eh.
Oo. Okay, kasi let us try to put some demarcation line between disciplining your child and punishing your child. Di ba sabi natin
Iba
kanina,
yun eh.
kaya kita pinapalo anak kasi gusto kitang disiplinahin. Wrong. Wrong yon. Kaya kita pinapalo kasi pinaparusahan kita. That's punishing. Ang pagpalo is punishing the child. But merong way to make palo, to make palo in a disciplining the child. Example, naiintindihan mo ba kapag kita pinalo?
Make them understand why.
Naiintindihan mo ba na hindi ko gusto yung behavior mo?
Okay.
Okay? Kasi kung hindi mo naiintindihan, may problema tayo. Something like that. Now, sometimes like this, yung palo can be another point, in another form. Example, pag meron akong hindi nagustuhan na behavior, ang tendency, binibigyan ko ng cold treatment eh. That's one way of palo sa akin. Kasi ibig sabihin, hindi ko gusto yung ginagawa mo.
Okay.
Okay, now, para lang saronggola. Pao, nakapag-laro ka ng kahit nung panahon, di ba? Tendency, di ba, kapag mataas yung saranggola, ang hawak natin is mahigpit and then try to loosen the string
loosen
para
the slack.
maging stable. That is the child should be, no? Pero kapag sa tingin mo, gaganong-ganon yung saranggola, then yung tendency to hold it tight, no? And then try to push it upward, no? Para nang sa ganon, hindi siya malugbog, but rather makikita niya yung, thank you for saving my life. Thank you for teaching me the right direction.
Yeah.
Yung pagpalo mo, marahil, wag mo naman papaluin na nagnakaw ng piso, ang
I
palo
know.
gamit mo, tsinelas, pero bakya.
I think it depende sa grabe, depende 'yun sa severity
Yes.
nung nagawa,
Oo.
'di ba? Kasi sometimes hindi naman yung mga minor lang.
Yes,
Yeah,
correct. Pero
yeah.
don't get me wrong, na baka sabihin na mababash tayo na again, tingnan natin yung konteksto.
Yeah,
Ang pagpalo
yeah.
mo ba, literal na palo? O pagpalo mo na ikino-correct mo yung
Correcting.
behavior?
Yeah.
Okay, kasi kung literal na palo, basta papaluin mo lang, ano ba, problema mo?
Oh, no, of
So
course
that's not wrong.
Yeah,
That's not correct. Pero, kung pinapalo mo, sige anak, minsan hindi ko gagawitin to. Pero look, anak, pag pinalo kita, sinaktan kita, magkakos tayo ng conflict. Ano ang problema?
I think the bottom line here is they need to understand
Yes.
why that happened.
Yes.
Diba? They need to hear it from you, yung reason mo why this happened, so that I learn from my mistakes and I will not do it again. Parang
Yes.
ganon.
Also, and stop spanking your kid.
Ay, hindi na. That was...
And no spanking.
Ayoko na.
Mahirap yun.
Mahirap yan. Pero Doc, alam mo, buti na lang
goodness.
ito yung format natin kasi mahabang usapan to.
Sana,
We're not
we have
done
more
yet.
time, no? There's
Oo.
so much to discuss.
Sobra. And
Yeah.
But again, we really appreciate you coming on over. because it has been an interesting conversation. At sana
Yes.
mas mahaba next time.
I know. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, psychologist John Cadiz Carandang. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doc. And that's a wrap on our show this Monday, July 14. New format, same great vibes. Ako po si Paolo de Rosario. Keep it cool, take it easy.
I'm Asis-Carilo. Hope you have a good one. See you again tomorrow from 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. only here on
Beautiful day!